Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and information on Path of Exile. Starting with a sneak peek of the goodies that were available at ExileCon. Of course, ExileCon right now has ended. Still, some of those were pretty cool, and these cat sockets, which were available in the previous ExileCon as well, definitely went sold out. I'm sure of it. They did sell out, and the previous one too, and they are honestly amazing. Also, well, again, ExileCon has ended, but hopefully you had the time to watch the live stream during the actual live stream and not on a VOD, and you got your Twitch drops. If you didn't, don't worry, they were not really that good. Still, it has been an amazing journey, and there are actually like almost 20 hours of full live stream on YouTube and probably on Twitch as well. So you can check out parts of those, which are the most important parts here. You can go and find the full VODs on Reddit or Twitch, or you can follow along here with a couple of important points about the game. So PoE2 is going to be now a separate game from PoE1. They originally planned to have only one client, but it eventually became obvious they couldn't. So they also did obviously a lot of previews, and this one is one of the previews. If you check the full VOD, there's more coming from streamers especially, so definitely check that out if you want to see more PoE2. And the world is set several years after the PoE1 campaign, and there's a new campaign with 6 acts and everything basically else that is completely new, ranging from monsters, bosses, and zones and everything else, so that's going to be amazing. Thing is, there's also 6 new character classes. Apparently there's no Ascendance, since they say there are 12 character classes, but it's going to be 2 characters for every combination of strengths, dexterity and intelligence. So dexterity, we have ranger, they have ranger and the huntress, I think it's called. Intelligence, there's witch and there's the sorcerer. So there's 2 for each type, and this really allows them to make more archetypes. Of course, they sprawl into 36 ascendancy classes, which is absolutely a lot of those, and there's a lot of replayability there. I mean, we didn't have that before, right? So even more of that, which is absolutely great. There's new skills, of course, but not just new skills, it's a whole new skill gem system. And as you can see, this skill has sockets. Basically in PoE2, your sockets are not on your gear, but on your skills, and you socket supports directly into these sockets, which means you can have actually up to 9 6-socket. And that is crazy, and that is definitely going to make for a different type of balance and make for a different type of game. In fact, there are already combinations which work better than others, and if you check out the gameplay, you'll see what I mean. And I mean, this is going to be really different than before. And it might actually not be good for everyone, but don't worry, because PoE1 is not going anywhere. PoE1 is still going to be updated, it's still going to go alongside PoE2, and actually they are going to have league releases one after the other, basically. So when one releases, the other is in a dead period, and then the other releases while the first one is in a dead period. So basically there's no downtime anymore, and you're caught in an endless cycle of PoE gameplay, which sure looks amazing, but might also burn you out real quickly. Definitely really good for streamers, if that's a thing. And well, you can see there's new skill gems, you can see there's new supports as well as older supports, of course. Good old multiple projectile supports definitely making its way up to PoE2. Also, there's a dual specialization for passive skill tree, which does not mean full dual specialization, but basically you can allocate some of your points one way or the other depending on the weapons you have equipped. So for example, here, if you have a cold staff on your main hand, you can allocate these 3 here, and then you can swap, actually weapon swap to another staff, this case lightning, and allocate the same points on this other part of the tree. So when you're using one skill, for a cold skill in this case, it will use your cold staff and use this part of the tree, and the same for the lightning staff. And there's a delay between the 2 if you swap between one skill and the other, and you can choose which skill uses which weapon. And yeah, that's crazy, and that actually uses weapon swap, probably the way they actually intended it to be in the first game. But still, This is really crazy. Actually, using weapon swap is a very interesting thing. And there's, of course, all new items. Some just have different names doing the same things, like this one. Some, like this one, are absolutely crazy. 10% quick strike chance as a base, full ice damage. It's absolutely insane. Of course, there's new weapon types again, like flails, spears, and likes. And there's also new resource type thing, that's spirit. This is what you use to reserve mana for auras, and also what you use to keep permanent minions up and alive. So definitely a really interesting thing, freeing up your mana to actually be used the way it's intended to be used. So maybe mana flasks will actually get a use there. And of course, there's going to be a new endgame, but we didn't get much about that yet, mostly because GGG is still developing it. Also because they know this is a huge part of their game. This is the biggest part of their game. So they know they have to make something really good in there, and they definitely have something up their sleeves. So we'll have to wait and see what comes in there. Also, the closed beta for PoE2 is happening on June 7, 2024. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be amazing. And we also got, of course, the next expansion, which is going to be Trial of the Ancestors, and the usual timer has started as a countdown. Basically, you're visiting the Karui afterlife to defeat tribes in a series of tournaments to earn valuable rewards. And well, just skipping down to the rewards, these are pretty interesting. The basic ones, basically replacing small passive nodes, the usual travel nodes, which are strength, int, or dex, to something else. For example, this one gives fire resistance, this one gives move speed, this one gives lightning damage, going up to huge one, replacing, for example, 30 int with a +1 to all intelligence skill gem. This is definitely a high level reward. There's also omens, which are consumed when they are in your inventory when something happens. So this one, when you die, this omen is consumed and creates a portal to town, which is really useful. I mean, it's pretty meme, but it's going to be useful. And there's also huge ones like this one, guaranteeing that an orb of chance used on an item will make a unique. So this is definitely huge for some T1 or T0 uniques, which only have one single base. And the biggest one, of course, GGG putting the real end game for crafting. And this one allows you to foresee what the next currency item used on an item will do. This is absolutely huge for crafting, and will definitely allow to craft very high quality items. And there's new unique items as well, like this one granting a huge amount of flat life when there's no life modifiers on other equipped items. So really interesting ones, giving and taking at the same time, which are the best items actually, making the player try to overcome the downsides of the items and only gain the upside. So definitely interesting. Another huge thing is the return of the Forbidden Sanctum as a permanent thing, and this is great. Basically, you drop Forbidden Tomes, and this is a complete floor of the Sanctum. You can play it whenever. You can also interrupt it at in the middle and continue later. And you can get relics, although sanctified relics are not there anymore, and these have been rebalanced. There's also unique relics, however, which are pretty cool. And the other thing you can do with Sanctum, if you don't want to play it, you can actually sell it. Also, you can sell halfway through. So, and it will retain everything you've done, all the boons, all the resolve, and everything else, all the afflictions as well. So this is definitely going to be really interesting. If you like to play Sanctum, you can buy it and play it. If you like to not play Sanctum, you can sell yours, and that is going to be really good for you as well. So no filler content, actually some content that you can actually do if you enjoy it. And there's also new keystones on the Atlas passive skill tree, allowing you to customize your own game, completely changing how you play these events, like Expedition, for example. You can have one huge single explosion instead of smaller ones. And there's a lot of these things really changing the way you play the game, which is pretty cool. There's also new support gems, and some of those are completely bonkers, like returning projectiles actually made it as a support. Of course, it has less damage multiplier, but only while returning. So this is definitely a really big one, and these are going to be really cool, especially when we see all the ones that have been released. There's a new, completely revamped ascendancy class, which is the Guardian. And I mean, completely revamped, maybe it's too much, but it still has been revamped and it's kind of cool. So definitely check it out if you're interested in being a support or playing with the Sentinels. And even bigger than that is the complete redesign of the Chieftain Ascendancy class, and this looks completely bonkers. Honestly, there's some things in here like nearby enemies have no fire resistance against DOT while you're stationary. I mean, that has to be broken with Righteous Fire, hasn't it? I mean, I don't know, that everything in here looks completely broken, so this is definitely going to be a very interesting class to play this upcoming league. Also, there's a new boss kill event, so I mean, you know how it works. Just create a character in a hardcore social found environment and race to kill all 7 pinnacle bosses. I mean, 0.1% of players will do that. Otherwise, you can, of course, show your support to GGG and buy a new supporter pack, which, of course, funds the current development of PoE1 and the ongoing development of PoE2, which, by the looks of it, is going to be absolutely amazing by the time it releases. Other than that, again, go watch the full VOD if you have time on YouTube and Twitch for the ExileCon. There's a lot of panels, there's developer talks which are really interesting. There's of course the full reveals where everything is explained as well, which is absolutely amazing as well. So yeah, I guess that was really all for this week. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all. I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.